Yo, yo, yo. It's D.Arthur in the building. I'm talking to you guys today about no-fap, the power of seed retention, and the dangers of being a full stack, quote-unquote, alpha male. The dangers. In today's society, as it's unfolding right in front of your eyes, there's a lot of, let's say, quote unquote, alpha males. Let's say professional football players, millionaires, multi-millionaires, people who have high status and who have created a name for themselves. And the thing is that we have seen it time and time again where very high status people literally pay, let's say, women to go on dates with them and to just, let's say, cherish them and things like that. They just pay a substantial amount of money to women, and I guess in exchange for their desire, something like that. And this just goes to show that no matter how much money you have, no matter what occupation you have, what you do, it does not change. The only thing that really matters when it comes to being an actual, let's say, alpha male and being, let's say, a full stack male is your mindset. It's literally the number one thing, because you can have all this multi-millions of dollars and you can be somebody who's recognized, but there's some people with that status and they're still kind of, let's say, taking L's. They're still kind of taking L's. And this just goes to show that no matter how much money you have and all those things, you can never really get a woman to submit to you unless she, let's say, respects you. Unless she really respects you. Unless you keep your masculine frame. Unless you don't let go of your, let's say, your values just because of her and yield of her. And let's say when you go on no-fap / semen retention for a little bit of time, or a longer time, you start realizing that maybe you were the prize this entire time. Maybe you were the prize this entire time, and maybe chasing tail for the last somewhat times of the last decade of your life, the last 10 years of your life, wasn't really all that worth it, because you start realizing you start getting to the point where if you go on retention for a long time and you're, let's say, working on yourself, you're working on something, you're living a very purposeful life. You're basically creating a life that somebody can come into eventually, and you're just all areas of your life are becoming very full stack. What's going to happen? You start realizing that you need energy to do all of these things, and the reason why let's say you were broke, or you were not as high, living as a high vibrational life as you could, is because you probably sedated yourself with external things, and you probably started releasing very consistently, and you were draining your life energy, and the consequence of that was you being less attractive and you being less happy, because you were wasting it on very undeserving women. The real men are the ones who can retain for let's say a long time, and while they're retaining, they're putting up foundations and pillars in their life. They're creating, let's say, if they're entrepreneur minded, they're creating a business that is undeniable. is invincible. If they're employee minded, they have a job that they actually like and are very passionate about. They're creating things in their life that they're okay with, and they don't need, let's say, another human to validate themselves. And the thing is, no fap really helps you start realizing this thing, helps you start realizing this type of perspective on a very, very, very good basis. You really start realizing who you are and how much of a divine being you really are. And like I said, high value men, regardless of what status they're in, it does not change. What tends to happen is it doesn't change unless their mindset is in the right place. The mindset has to be there. Your mindset is the number one thing. If your mindset is not where it's supposed to be, then you will continue to do very beta male things, and you will continue to submit to life instead of trying to conquer it on your own. So yeah, like, the thing is, like, you have to create masculine frame, and the way to do this, to like create your boundaries, is, like I said, to actually create some sort of foundation and fulfilling life, and never change your values in spite of the woman. You have to get her to submit to your values, and get her. Maybe you may even have to influence her of your values if they're that important to you. But a lot of, let's say, some very, very high status people, they throw all their values out the window when it comes to women. And that, like I said, it's about your mindset, not the acquisitions that you have. So yeah, like, and like I said, when you're on NoFap, a lot of people will start trying. When you go on NoFap, you'll start becoming attractive to other humans just in general, women and men alike. You might start realizing when you go on NoFap, if you're posting, let's say, Instagram stories, a lot more people might look at it. You might even realize that more people are reaching out to you just because of the type of content that you're posting. Like I said, like, you can go on NoFap semen retention for as long as you want, but if you're not doing anything different in your day-to-day and you're just on it just to be on it, then there's pretty much no point to be on it, because you're just going to look crazy. The whole point of NoFap/seed retention is to do things that you normally wouldn't do. You normally wouldn't have as much confidence. So you normally wouldn't do certain things. But when you go on NoFap, you might start having that courage. That courage might start coming in your life. You might have the courage to go up and talk to her. You might have that courage to post that story. You might have the courage to take risks and do things. Because the thing is, if you want to acquire wealth in this physical reality, you have to take risks. You have to take a risk. It's literally the only way. If you don't take a risk, someone else will hire you to take the risk. And the thing is, everybody was fed this programming when we were growing up, about the whole matrix, about climbing up a corporate ladder and working for an employer or some big company and getting a pension. And the thing is, if you don't question this, then you'll always be at the same spot. You'll always be in the same spot. There has to be one person who questions all of this. You have to question all of this, because the thing is, in this money is debt. The bank, every time a loan is created, anytime the bank gives a loan to somebody, money is created. Money is debt. So the difference between, let's say, a rich person and someone who's working class or poor is because the middle class, they they get into debt and then they buy liabilities with their debt. But the difference is the rich, they still are in debt, but they have good debt, which means they get in debt, they take a loan from the bank, and they acquire assets. Like, they buy properties and then rent it out to people. The difference is a middle-class person would get into debt to get, like, let's say, a student loan, or to buy a purse, or buy a house to live in, which a house is a liability, not an asset. Unless you're renting it out to other people, it's a liability. You were told this to save, let's say, every penny. You were told to live. You were told all of these things to work and save. But the thing is, if you're not getting bigger, stronger, or faster, then you're pretty much you're not having the full potential that you can be. The thing is, like, you have to promote yourself. Money has no value if it's not being used. If it's just sitting in your bank account, it's not acquiring from you. You're actually losing money because of inflation. You have to get to the point where you're letting your money work for you. You're getting debt. You're acquiring debt to buy assets so it can pay for you in the long run. You're buying things that can generate you more income in the future. People get a loan to buy a car, and they take 5 to 10, 15 years to pay off their car. And that is not a good investment, because that's a liability. So yeah, just start realizing everything that we were taught when we were growing up. Start realizing if that really is the best way to do things. Because if you look at the people who are actually wealthy, let's say Amazon, the founder of Amazon, people like them. For some reason, they found a loophole where they don't pay any taxes, but people who work for money pay the most taxes. How does that make any sense when someone is generating billions of dollars, but they pay $0 in taxes, and the people who work for him are paying more in taxes? You got to realize that the government, the tax code is meant to benefit the employer, not the employee. This is all the things that we start realizing. So yeah, just make sure everything that happens, everything that you're being taught, make sure it's actually the best advice, and you're questioning things and you're finding out yourself instead of just taking it out on someone else's terms. Because if you don't think for yourself, then someone else will start thinking for you. And they're gonna give you the shorter end of the stick if you don't think for yourself. So like, comment, and subscribe below. We will see you in the next video.